Zimbabwe is a rich country. And at one point we were saying, is it possible for countries to live as friends? This is what we should be doing. We should be living as friends. But there are those amongst us who are jealous, who want to even go and exploit the resources that are not theirs.
Hello and welcome to Obehi Podcast. I'm your host, Obehi A14, and I strongly believe that everyone has a story to share. Now let's get started into this episode.
That is why you have seen countries such as America, the United Kingdom, coming together to go and fight wars that are not theirs. They are trying to go and extract the resources that are not there. These are the people that have brought wars in these different countries, and even to the extent of funding the kind of rebels that we have seen in quite a number of countries, so that they can enter into this, into the space and exploit resources which are not available in their countries. And in 1979, during the Lancaster House, the agreement was that there was an undertaking by the leaders, President Robert Mugabe and Joshua Nkomo, to say that the prime reason why we went to war or why we are fighting, it is because of the land. We want our land back. So the British understood that. And Margaret Thatcher then entered into an agreement with these leaders that the first 10 years, if ever land was going to be taken, it was going to be on a willing buyer, willing seller basis. And this was what was happening for the first 10 years. And after that, land was supposed then to be taken, but payment was supposed to be done for the improvements on the farm, which the British government had decided they would provide funding for. But they reneged to the extent that it started to act the people who had gone to war and us who wanted our land back. And in 1999, 1997, up to 1999, people started to talk more about land, going onto the land, and then the fast track land reform started, where people could go on the farm, claim a farm, and remove the person who was there. That did not go down very well with the British and the Americans. But there is no crime that we can say we committed as Zimbabweans by taking our land back, which had been stolen by the British when they entered into Zimbabwe. So we were just reversing the anomaly that had happened then. And there is no crime, therefore, in claiming what is yours and redistributing it to the rightful owners. And it is this which angered the British and the Americans, such that they decided to sanction. We have been saying that the sanctions are illegal because they were unilaterally imposed by the United States of America and its allies without following the due process. There is no country which is allowed to impose sanctions on another country. The only organization or organ that can impose sanctions is the United Nations. And the United Nations did not impose sanctions, neither did they approve the imposition of sanctions on Zimbabwe by the United States of America and its allies. Assuming that Zimbabwe had committed a crime, or the people that were listed had committed a crime, they should have been brought before the courts and tried. And we do not see any of this happening. No one was tried. Even the country itself was not tried at all. How can then sanctions be imposed, or how can someone be sentenced when he has not been tried? What is the rationale for the United States of America to impose sanctions on somebody whom they have not tried? Because they should have taken to the courts if it is a case of human rights, if it is any other violation that the Zimbabwean government had done, they should have been brought to the courts, tried, and then sanctioned if approved by the United Nations. And the illegality is therefore in the fact that the sanctions were unilaterally imposed by the United States of America and its allies, and no one has ever been tried for any human rights abuse or any other crime whatsoever by the United Nations or by the Americans or by any other court for that matter. We have done almost everything that the country is supposed to do. The United Nations has been formed. We have called the Americans and told them that the sanctions are illegal. And all what we have endured for the past 20 years are the harsh impacts or effects of these sanctions. And we cannot do anything else because we did not commit any crime, and we see no reason why we have to be why sanctions have to be imposed on Zimbabwe. That is why we have decided to send memorandums. We have decided to petition the United States of America through its embassies, and one hopes that the Americans will see reason and remove these sanctions. Because we strongly believe that as a country, taking back our land was not in any way human rights violation. In comparison to the violation that the Americans have done for the people of Zimbabwe in the past 20 years.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewanfo. Thank you so much for listening, and talk to you in the next episode.